Sean. We can look at it two different ways. There's no real answer.
She was married twice, like Precious said. Why
Yeah.
didn't? How'd she fail twice?
The second husband passed away, but she didn't want to speak about how he passed. But they divorced before he passed away. The first husband she was with for like 17 years, I believe she said. They met in like high school. And I believe she was married to the second husband for like 4 or 5 years before they divorced, and then he passed away.
She put him in the grave, got the insurance policy, got it. Let me not be cruel. Let me not be cruel to her. Men of value, we've broached this many a time. She would not be the first pick. Men of value have options. She's competing with the younger woman with real breasts, no baggage or less baggage than she has. And older men, they love to groom women. I don't mean groom like Diddy or nothing like that. Those women fall into line when they're with a man of value that stands firmly on his feet and tells a woman straight up, this is what I want. You want to hang? You can hang. If you don't, it was nice meeting you. Because they know they have the pick of the litter. When you're 51 and I'm having a discussion with me and you're telling me what you want, and I'm a man over 150K, that puts me top 15, 10%? So somewhere there. I'm looking at you like you out your rabbit ass inside my head, inside voice. And then your daughter come behind. What you gonna do? And what you gonna put next to the G-Wagon and Porsche? I'm thinking of how quickly I could get out the door.
Yeah, except if you keep apples to apples, a 30-year-old woman will have a 5-year-old coming to the damn going thing, as opposed to a 17-year-old that you can say, get the hell out of here. So I mean,
you're right. But Payne, you got to think about it. A 30-year-old with a child probably ain't gonna. You still have other choices of 30-year-olds without children. You have choices of 20-year-olds without children. You have choice. You have so many other choices than that 51-year-old lady with high. Go ahead.
You got to be equal. I mean, if the chick, we're talking about a chick who's got to be in like 30 in her 30. I mean, you're moving the ball. You're making a 30-year-old to be somebody who's looking for something. She might just be looking to have fun. Just like the 51-year-old.
Go ahead, Ken.
Men of that age that she wants pretty much have an idea of what they want. They will dictate it. They will not ask. They will dictate.
You will dictate
men of value.
Her.
They will dictate. Okay, either hang or you can't hang. This is what I'm offering. This is the lifestyle I'm wishing to put you
into. I agree with that.
Older women, like older people, become more set in their ways.
I agree with that too. Yeah, he would dictate to both of them, the 30-year-old and her.
Okay, if I'm balancing that, would I take a 51-year-old grandmother with a sassy daughter all in my ear, or would I take the 30-year-old with the kid where I have an opportunity to
do what?
To groom her and say, you know what?
We're not talking about grooming.
You're not letting me. You introduce the 30-year-old. Allow me to make the platform.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The 30-year-old, which aspirationally you would think she would listen more, and has an opportunity to be involved with a man of means. She has the ability to make corrections that a 51-year-old cannot, because they're more set in their ways. Would you disagree about that?
No, listen, you're moving the goalposts for the 30. The 30-year-old women are just as ratchet as the 51-year-olds. Some of them are. If they just looking for fun, they don't give a shit about your grooming. They want you to pay, and they're gonna give you what you want. That's it.
But we're not missing it. We're just saying we're paying more for the older woman. We're paying the biggest payment, the biggest baggage that she's coming with is an old dog who you can't teach new tricks. That's a bag.
Bang it out.
No, you don't. You don't want to bang out old, crepit, let me not go there.
Okay, so but we're moving the goalposts. But listen, I agree with both of you. If you want to take a choice to groom a woman to stay with, I'd take the younger one. But if you're just talking about banging them out, the younger one is going to charge you more money because she's going to charge you for her youth.
And we're trying to tell you what we're disagreeing with is that's not true, Pay. But the younger one is not gonna have as much experience on the money. She's gonna think a lot of money is $10,000. Wait. She's gonna wait. Hey, let me just share this with you, and we go on it all the time. The younger one, the 30-year-old, is gonna want a man with 6 figures. She just finished saying she want over 6 figures. She's already told you that she's more expensive than the younger one. What part don't you get? You moving the goalposts.
No, I'm not. You think the 31? I've seen Kendra G shows. You got 31-year-old women in there want $500,000 from a dude. They got 18 kids from 19 men. And they still want $500,000. Listen, you guys are fundamentally right if you're looking for a relationship. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That's okay. We can land it there. We can land.
Well, you wait. So did she go on Kendra G show? Payne, did she go on Kendra G show looking for, an intimate night or a relationship?
She sounds to me that she's looking to get banged out by somebody.
Okay, I'm gonna ask again. Be fair. She went on Kendra G show looking for love, not a quick night. What you said? Not to dip her wick.
Okay, all right.
You don't think that? Wait. Honestly, you don't think she could go out there and get?
No. Yeah, she probably could. I mean, she probably could, but she's using all her avenues.
No, she gave her requirements. If you want me, she gave her laundry list of things that would make her acceptable, make the man acceptable to move in there with all her kids and the ones that she threw in the pantry and the snooty little red ball. This is what I come with, and you got to make a lot of money.
All right. Okay. Listen, I can see the point. We got some new panelists over there. Man.
Shout out to Big Ann 11, $10 super chat. He said, I don't want to hear Payne talking about banging someone out. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Big Ann? What's going on, man?
No, hey.
Thank you guys for joining. How are you this evening? Hank, how are you?
I think my stomach's a little turnt, man, after hearing all Payne talk like this, man. God damn, I might need some of that pink stuff, that Pepto-Bismol, some milk of magnesia or something.
Okay, man. You don't rub it in, man. Jesus.
That was uneasy. I'm just saying, but no, I'm good. Precious, I appreciate you having a Sunday night show. So that's all good. Shout out to you.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. How are you, Sean? I don't know if he's there or not. This is Sean's first time being on the panel. Well, whenever he gets there.
What's up, Precious? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Salute to the homies. Big Hank, what up, bro?
Salute.
How y'all feeling?
What's going on now, Sean? I need another sweater. You got me?
I got you, big dog, for sure. Appreciate it.
Oh, you got merch? Drop it in the chat now. Don't be gatekeeping over there. Is it only men's apparel?
Nah, it's unisex. My link is in my what do you call it? That little thing under my name. Let me see. I can drop it though. Pause. And drop it.
Definitely drop the information in the chat.
Hey, Mr. Payne getting frisky tonight.
Sean, anybody ever told you sound like JR?
Sean, you think his old ass would sit down somewhere? You think he gets old?
I am sitting down. I am sitting down.
OG been active for a minute, man. Salute to Mr. Payne.
Oh man, what's going on?
It's after dark. That free come out, I guess.
All right, so we want to move on to the next topic. We just got a few topics tonight. I'm not gonna hold y'all long this evening. This one I need my phone. So there's a guy who, most times you see women going on the internet to ask for advice, but there is a man who feels as though he said something unforgivable and he doesn't know how to take it back. Okay. You guys might not be able to see this, so I'm just going to read it so you get the gist of what's going on. He says, I know I'm the shitty one here. I came on here to ask people for advice. I can't tell my friends or anyone close to me, so I just need help from unbiased individuals. But basically what happened was that me, 35 male, and my wife, 34 female, got into a heated argument. She wanted to go out with her friends to a club, and I really do not like when she goes out to such places, as she exposes herself to disgusting men who are there only for one thing. And I don't want anyone to look at my wife that way. I've been very clear that I absolutely hate when she goes to clubs, no matter who she goes with. 2 days ago, she told me she was going out with her friends and started putting on her dress and getting ready. But when I saw her outfit, it looked a lot like something she would wear at a club. So I asked her so I asked her where she was going. And she started huffing and puffing and telling me to get off her back. I kept pushing, and she finally told me she was going to a club, and the argument started. We were saying a lot of things to each other that wasn't very nice. But at some point, she said, be happy I married you because I'm the only one that was able to take your BS. And I responded with, yeah, actually, you are right. The woman I actually wanted to marry left me, so I settled to be miserable, but at least have a partner. After I said this, she didn't have to tell me how deeply I screwed up. I already knew. She packed all her stuff and our baby and went to her parents. I've been calling and texting, and she's not answering me. I know I screwed up. Please help me. Women who go to clubs are disgusting, and I don't want my wife to look like that, but she doesn't seem to understand. The only thing I know, I really messed up and was telling her what I told her. So they had this heated argument. She wants to go to the club. He don't want her to go to the club. She's getting dressed. They have the argument of, hey, she says, be happy I married you because nobody else is going to deal with this BS. And he said, I only married you because the person I was in love with left me. So I decided to settle and be miserable, but at least I'm with a partner. Is that something that you say to your wife and then regret it? Or is this something that can be repaired and fixed?
Man, he is his name is Goofball Jamal. So many goofy moments in this. He is a goofball. The first thing is he should have, if he was gonna drop his nuts, you should drop your nuts up front and let her know that you ain't hearing all that club shit. If that's how you feel, drop your nuts immediately. That way, when you find out she's doing it, there ain't no confusion. Also, he's a goofball for reacting emotionally. She was absolutely fucking wrong for what she said, but he lost the moral high ground, any more high ground he may have had by reacting emotionally. Well, since you said that, I'm gonna say this. Like, that's some goofball shit. So he is a goofball for saying that shit. Now he's a goofball for after saying the shit emotional. Now you chasing behind her. So now she got the power and the leverage in the situation, and you have no moral high ground. He sounds like a goofy. Now I know a lot of women will say he sounds insecure too with the club thing. I'm not a nigga who necessarily cares about my chick going to the club. I'm not that type of nigga. But I understand dudes who care about that. So just saying, like, he sounds bad all the way around. Hopefully she leaves him and he finds the right chick for him. You know what I'm saying? And he don't get killed in court.
Kenny?
I think that that was the beginning to the end. You said what you feel and you were holding on to for more than a while. You grew to resent her, and then an opportune time occurred so that it could come out. As for the thing of the woman going to the club, you inspect what you expect. I ain't gonna have no woman out there that doesn't conform. If you're my wife and I walk these streets, I'm respecting you. If you're my woman, you should respect me. You attract what you attract. If you go out there wearing a horse attire, what you think you're gonna attract? I know there's a lot of brothers, some that I know that are in prison, some no longer here, because a woman put them in situations because they couldn't follow decorum and etiquette of a relationship, and things got escalated. As for that relationship, listen, that looked like that was a pot of gumbo that nobody wanted to taste that bubbled over. Maybe they can get counseling. Maybe they can find a church elder and sit down. I don't know the dynamics because I'm sure there's more context than just what we see. Maybe it's salvageable. I know worse has been said in other relationships, but I'm thinking aspirationally. Right there, they're in a bad place. If they can conquer this obstacle, I think they can be together forever. Or they can easily let go the vows that they promised till death do us part. Richer for poorer. That also goes for trying situations. If they're willing to dash that away easily, so be it. They got to run their race. I'll land right there.
All right. I think they're in a great position. Let me explain. They've been holding on to that resentment for some while. Her resenting the fact that she's married and still wanting to go hang with her girlfriend. Him resenting the fact that she ain't complying. So they've been holding it in, and it was an implosion or explosion that happened, and it came out through their words. Okay, so all right, let it out. Finally, it's out. All right, so cool. Now, if y'all really care about it, you got your feelings hurt that you want to pack up your stuff and go. Now you want to go to your mother house. You could have been going to your mother house with the kids prior to trying to go to the club, but you didn't want that. So now he says something that hurt your feelings, and now you want to go to your mother house and take the kid, and he's feeling like, oh, I messed up. No, you finally was honest. All right, she's finally honest. All right, y'all hurt each other's feelings. All right, go ahead and start addressing some of the real issues that had y'all resentful and bitter in the first place, and you might be able to do something best for the child. But unfortunately, you were sitting there getting in a position of where the child was suffering, y'all was suffering because y'all just wasn't being honest with each other. Y'all just wasn't regulating your emotions properly, and y'all playing a game of who got the leverage. Fuck the leverage. Nobody, who cares? You don't need no leverage. The leverage is y'all both coming and coming to a conclusion that will benefit your child. That's the leverage you need to be concerned about. And right now, they are at a pinnacle of a place where now they can address the real issues that were lingering, that were harbored, that was hiding, that were disguised, that really would have exploded one way or another anyway. So be glad that it exploded verbally as opposed to physically, because they do have a child that still needs both their mother and their father, and neither one of them was doing a good job of being a mature man or woman who took vows in order to start a family. They was too busy thinking about other things. So they're in a great place, you ask
me. Okay, they're in a great place for everything to come up and come out. Well, it done came out already, but they're in a good place to start from there. Okay. Arpane, where you about to go?
Yeah, let me go before so Hank could bring it home. First of all, Sean's correct. He should have had that straightened out before they even got married. Mm-hmm. If you got a woman who wants to club and you ain't for it, that's supposed to be one of the things on the table. And if you couldn't handle it, I wouldn't marry you. You know, if that's a deal breaker for you. Now, one of the things is it seemed like she was habitually going out. When your woman is habitually going out to the club, she's thinking about somebody else. To me, it's you know, because the only thing you get there is she needs some validation from other men. That's how I look at it. Now, the other part, or what I think what she said to him, she meant it. And what he said to her was in reality retaliation. And I'm not so sure he meant it. He just said it out of hurt and immaturity. Right. So she was telling him, she gave him a message. I'm only with you because nobody else wants you, kind of thing. And I think she meant that. She's have already clocked out from this dude. That's how I'm thinking. She's already, and he put the nail in the coffin when he retaliated the way he did. But I think he wasn't picking up the messages, especially if you're getting those kind of arguments. You know, that's what I think. I mean, women. You know, I think she's giving him a message. He understands the message, but he doesn't know how to deal with it. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And so he dealt with it the wrong way. I don't think First of all, he could be. I think his remorse by trying to beg for her back, he's making it worse. Hell with that. Hell with that. You know what? I would have to just. If you're gonna leave me, I'm not gonna chase you. But give me my kid and get the hell out of here. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't fight about that.
They're 34 and 35, and she's still worried about going to the club.
Yeah, she's clocked out.
I mean, how much clubbing can you do? Like, the living room need to be a club at this point. Like, come on, if you got a baby, like, things are paying.
That changes the whole dynamic. Real quick before we get Hank, that's the whole dynamic. You didn't factor in the kid, Payne.
I did factor in the kid. What are you talking about? That's what I ended with. First of all, I don't believe that.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
I think she would have more trouble taking the kid out of the house going to her mother with me than just going to her mother's house. Wait a minute. Where you going? You was getting ready to go to the crib. You ain't taking my kid out of the house. That's where we would get into trouble. I think men acquiesce to that shit too much. Go if you want to go ahead and sulk with your mom, go by yourself. The kid's in bed. We're chilling, and I have the kid. You wanted to go out. Go out. Just go out, but you ain't taking the kid with you. So that's how I would feel about that. So anyway, that's just me. Men acquiesce too much to chicks when they get like that. Man, don't be taking my kid. The hell with that. Matter of fact, let me go do a paternity test. I'm not sure it's my kid now anyway. I just do that shit. So. Anyway, but I'm done.
You too old to be this goddamn petty, man. God damn.
Well, what's petty?
Now you're gonna question the kid if it's yours now. Boy,
that was just bullshit. I'm bullshit with that last part.
No. Payne, I think you dead serious. I believe.
No. Wait. Not on this one, but not on this one.
Now, let me say this. So I agree. That conversation should have had it from the get-go. More than likely, you probably met her ass in the club anyway. That's probably where you met her. So if that's the case, you should inquire about her interest on going to the club. Are you in this place a lot? Is this something you frequent? And if that's an issue for you, my man, you need to either say something about it or let her be. Because you can't handle it. At the end of the day, he knew he couldn't handle it. So she was petty by making a slide statement like that. Well, I'm the only one. Yeah. She went from the gut punch, and that hurt him. So his way of trying to get back is try to go even lower. And so that's what he did. Now he's feeling some type of way because he went when he did wrong. As a man, we got to take the high road sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to do it. When you got a petty heifer like this, it gets even harder. So with that situation, he probably should have walked up on the guy in her face and looked her straight in the goddamn eye. Don't you ever talk to me like this. Probably what he should have did. Don't put hands on him. Just get up a stern stare and look her straight eye. Don't you ever talk to me like this. I'm a grown-ass man. And then just with whatever will happen after that. Now, if she got upset and said some extra shit, then you walk away. Turn your back on her ass. Because right then and there, from where I'm from, that's a sign of disrespect. You're going to disrespect her by turning your back on and not giving no attention. Give her ass the goddamn cold shoulder for the rest of the night. So you saying fuck you without even saying the words. That's what he should have did. But he went the petty route. Now he dealing with it. Now he about to go in key sweat mode to try to get her crazy ass back. And I don't even know if it's a good idea because it sounds like they are a match made in hell. I'll leave it there.
And on top of that, I think he got a great point. But here's my concern with they have a child now, so they got to grow up, and both of them are very immature, not in age because they shouldn't be at 35 and 34. They're immature mentality. Maturity doesn't come with age. Maturity comes with mentality. And unfortunately, if they didn't have a child, I would have a different position. But at this point, that's why I said they're in a great place because they need to address some of these things because they have a child. They got married and have a child for whatever stupid reason, good reason, whatever the case may be. We can't even dwell on that right now and just leave it and up and leave. And that's childish. We got to now buckle up and be mature. Be a grown man and a grown woman. Figure out, I hurt you by what I said. You hurt me by what you said. How are we not going to hurt each other so that we don't hurt our child?
We have a few comments here. World Class said child alienation is all I heard. And that kind of was speaking to what our pain was saying. You know, if you're going to leave, but leave the child here. What you taking the child for? Taking the child is a maneuver that women do when they want to not say that they're not coming back. So it's like they're taking a child, and that's the statement, like, we're not coming back, or I'm taking the child away from you. And like our pain was saying, you know, too many men acquiesce to that, and that's how you end up with so many single family homes, because, you know, there are women who have sex with men that they're not with, or they're not in a relationship with, but you have men and women who are in relationships. They have a child now, for granted they aren't married, which they should be, but they're in relationships, probably have been in relationships for a while, and now a child has come along and all hell is breaking loose, like Sean is saying. And instead of taking a step back and evaluating and saying, okay, I've been with this person for a long time, or I've been with this person in a relationship without a child, and instead of taking inventory of the things that's not working in a relationship, or that's not getting, you know, you're not moving each other in the way that you should to get the responses that you need from each other. Instead, you're throwing jabs, you're fighting unfair, you know, and those things are not going to progress the relationship. And now that you have a child, another addition, another dynamic, another, you know, growth in the relationship. If you're not growing in your relationship, then raising the child is not going to help that. So you have to get on the same page beforehand. And like we talked about on Thursday, be mindful of, you know, certain behaviors. Dr. Still says one is emotional and the other was arrogant. Yes. I don't know, for a man to say, I only married you because the woman I love left me. I mean, I think it would take a lot for a man to actually say those words. We're actually, the last two videos, we're actually going to get into a woman pretty much saying, you know, I don't think men really verbalize what you're saying. And she's talking about the man who was speaking in the video. And then again, I have another video that I'm going to show where a woman says, you know, we could tell when a man is cheating, but we can't tell when he's unhappy. So I think that there's something in the middle there. But this man went all the way to the left and was like, hey, look, you think you the only one that can put up with me? I only married you because the love of my life left me. So, you know, I think that's going to a place where this man obviously needed therapy or emotional support when the woman that he did love and that he was with left him. So we not to say that everyone's the same, but you have to ask, why did this woman leave him? Like, why did she leave him? You know, what are some things that you have to look internally and say, okay, these are the things that I need to work on. You know, were you emotionally eruptive like that with the woman that you loved? You know, you got to take some emotional inventory. So, you know, he definitely was emotional, and she was just like, hey, look, I'm going out. I've been dealing with you long enough. MR says many of us men pick wrong because of convenience. Yeah. I saw something that said that, you know, men aren't forced into marriage, which, you know, is a fact. But it said that men marry the woman that is around at the time that they're ready to get married. Do you guys think that that's a true statement, or that's true, or any truth to that, or that's just another?
I think there's relevance to that. I mean, obviously, when you get married, now you're opened up to finding out who you want to marry, and if there's somebody who is compatible, who is around you at that moment, and you're ready, you're going to make the moves in order to to secure that, or to try and go in a direction you're ready to go in. So there could be some truth to it, and whether that person is around or whether they were around or available prior to, you can argue. But yeah, when a man is married to be married, his eyes are open, and so anything that's in front of him, he's seeing.
Let me just say, I think most men who do that are men with scarcity mindset. I think a man who just married a woman who's around him, who's getting the goodies from, and he thinks he probably couldn't do any better, and he doesn't want to compete anymore. I think he'd settle for something like that. And I think that has come with a scarcity mindset. I would never. I mean, if I was anecdotal, that's the only way I can do it. But that's what it sounds like to me. And you might fall in love with the chick, but I think he's getting some goodies. And he said, well, if I don't have to look any further, I'm going to just ask this one who's with me. And I just think that there's a lot of guys like that, probably too many.
I agree with you. I would just think that if he's getting the goodies, he's been taking inventory for some time as far as some of the things that he wanted. And that's probably why he made that decision, not out of scarcity, but out of, all right, these are some of the benefits. I already am enjoying the goodies. Here are some of the attributes that I think and qualities that I think that she has that I might not have been really paying attention to. And he has taken an inventory. I don't think he's just jumping in if he was getting the goodies. He pretty much knows her. He probably does have feelings for her. And there's probably some attributes that he might have been overlooking when he wasn't ready to open his eyes.
I think both those things could be true at the same time.
Yeah, Dr.
Agree.
So lonely that he was willing to settle for whoever approached him. I was in that situation 4 times. So I believe that happens with men too. You're lonely. You're not really dating, anyone. Maybe you were married before. Now you're divorced. You want somebody next to you. You want a companion. But loneliness also, a lot, they say, the devil's playground is, that idle time. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times you have to find something different to do with your idle time, especially when you're coming out of a breakup or, like this man said, the woman that he loved left him. That's when you have to do something, productive. And that's usually men start to work more, get in the gym, do things that's going to take their mind off of whatever is going on. But there are men who fall into that loneliness trap, and that loneliness trap really blinds you from what you need to be seeing in a woman who, you probably shouldn't be with. But because she's offering you the physicalities of what, you're lacking, it seems like you're getting that 80% when really you're only getting 20%.
I think there's some truth to that. I think I want to touch on a point that was we kind of glossed over. We touched on it a little. The fact that both of them had unhealed traumas. That's why one is running out to the club because she's still not over something that she is absent from, or something's absent in her life, and he having a breakup with the person, or the person leaving him who he's in love with, according to him. He has some unhealed trauma. So we're dealing with two people. That's why I said we're at a great starting place, because unfortunately it would be a great time to break up without a child. But because there's a child there, you got to put on your big boy and big girl panties and underwear and start acting like adults now, and start acting, y'all said things, y'all were petty, y'all, you got to have grace for that, forgiveness for that, and let's grow up. That's the problem. They both are not grown. They both are not healed, or whatever we want to call it. There's a lot of different signs of it, but we got to start identifying these things, not gloss over it. No one's right or wrong. No one's lesser or more mature. They're both immature. They both need to grow up, and they need to do it for the sake of their child.
Yeah, because that 35-year-old is going to be like that 51-year-old. And then she gonna have her daughter in the background like, no, my mom drive a Porsche. So that's why it's important to really be on the same page with the person, especially if they're married. You're married. It's not like, you know, you guys are just dating or courting each other. At this point, you're married. So obviously you missed some red flags in the beginning, but you took that step. You went to the altar. So, you know, if there is no, it don't seem like there's no domestic violence going on, you know, it seems like her going to the club could be a gateway or avenue for her to be able to have access to other people and other people to have access to her. So, you know, that I'm sure he's looking at that like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. But the way that he's conveying the message to her is completely off. But it doesn't help when, you know, for them to say their only reasons why they married each other as if they wasn't standing at the altar and said vows. It's just like, what y'all say the vows for then? Y'all should have just said what y'all just said at the altar. You know, it's like, how do we get here? How did we get here?
I gotta get
he should have actually never married her. Actually,
I gotta get pushed back on what they say. You marry and cleave to what's in your vicinity, or you will have a rampant. You would have a large percentage of men getting mail order brides or going across seas on a whim to marry women. You tend to get in relationships with who's in your locale. That's a given. And most of these relationships are people that have started from friendships or acquaintances that you know. You're not cleaving people on the regular that's out there in Timbuktu or Nepal. No. You're dating in your pool of people that are around you or that come to pass, and that's the high percentage. And within those, you have fruitful relationships where people do the time, do the introspection, learn about the other person, and they learn about you, learn about your shortcomings, accept you for your flaws. Then eventually one gets brave enough to take a knee and say, you know what? I want to give this a go. I want to see if I could have a life with you. I think that there was something that they're not telling within these bitter statements of how they got here, because I don't know many people that don't really like each other would commit to a full marriage, then have a child. I don't know if that the child is premarital, postmarital, but if it's postmarital, now you no longer have a say to, okay, Splitsville, you have a duty to that child. Do you not? You're in there, and then you guys are having these discussions. Is the child present? And you know, children are sponges. So now, if you lean to what Sean said, even though, you know, none of us are clinically certified to make these calls on what these people are, you would be spreading trauma. If you're gonna break amicably, break amicably. That kind of petty stuff. Oh, I'm gonna do what I want. I said what I said. You know, and then you still want to be with her. That means there's something in your heart that still cleaves to her. It's not as simple as what is said. That's why I said what I originally said. Them seeking counseling, trying to work it out. If it can't, then at least be grown people about it and split amicably. But not just like this. You're gonna pick up the kid and just do that because that's what most women do. The leverage card to be spiteful.
Yeah, in the beginning of his excerpt here, he says, "I can't tell my friends or anyone close to me." And to me, that's a red flag because, you know, and we're going to get into it in the last video, but is it common for men not to talk about their issues and things of that nature? Yes. But a mature man would know that he would need, like, can he say either counsel, a mentor, a trusted friend, someone that you can bounce your, you know, ideas, insecurities, what you got going on. That is needed. That's needed for women and that's needed for men. You know, it's needed for both parties. And so the mere fact that he has to come to the internet and he can't go to anyone who knows him, like truly know him, You're supposed to be able to, you know, talk to someone who truly knows you and loves you and will let you know about yourself. You know, pretty much tell you that you tripping or that you need to seek some help, or, you know, that is very important. But we're going to get into the next video. It's a short video, but right after that video, I'm going to play the next video. And I just want us to be able to kind of meet in the middle with these two videos.
Say, ladies, why does our sense of discernment always tell us when a man is being unfaithful, but it never tells us when a man is unhappy? And I ain't gonna lie, it kind of made sense. We don't be seeing that shit coming. But we can tell when that mofo is cheating. Ladies, do you want to answer this in the comments? Because I want to know. I'm curious too.
All right. So she says women can tell when men are cheating, but can't tell when he is unhappy with you. Right. So we're going to get into this next video and then we're going to talk about it.
Tough part. What was her job at the beginning? Was it bitch and complainer or cheerleader? Well, originally she was the best cheerleader. That's why I chose her forever. She made me feel like the fucking best. Well, at what point did it change? Because guys do what you cheer them on to do. But the more you disregard, the more you complain, the more you go like, well, it wasn't done the way I wanted to, my way, the less they're going to be like, I want to fight for you. If you start taking your guy's kneecaps out, he stops fighting for you. Well, I don't want to be accountable for that because he should be stepping up. He should be standing up. You hit him in the kneecap, though. You're kneecapping the guy that you want to stand up, and you're the reason he's doing it. How conflicting for this guy.
It is conflicting, but I don't think that men are communicating that. I just think that
men who are isolated, men who don't have mentors, men who aren't taught the way, men who don't even know they can be warriors.
Right.
The only influence that these guys have, and this is a very important sentence, the only influence and the only person that they want happiness, the only person they want to feel joy and connected, the only person they want intimacy and love, the only person that matters is their girl and how important her opinion is. And what opinion is she giving is also important. And as soon as she's the nagging, complaining one, the most important resource in his life does not approve of him. He's not good enough. He's a problem and he doesn't do anything fucking right. What stand up for yourself thing? What stand up and do things is he supposed to have when the one person he would do it for is his hardest critic? He doesn't have a pack. He doesn't have the guys to lean on. He doesn't have good mentorship. He doesn't have the brotherhood. He doesn't have that stuff. Do you know, I have hundreds of guys when they come in and they go, I can't believe that what you built exists. We have all these guys who get together, and I'm talking about the baddest ass dudes, you know, MMA fighters, strong men, police officers, soldiers, Marines. We all get together, Navy SEALs, you name it. We get together and we do have that open vulnerability, that heart, that empathy. I love you, bro. I'm here for you. Man, that's tough. What do we do to serve you? How can I have your back? That's the thing your girl is supposed to do. I even made a joke that most of my guys are emotionally cheating with the brotherhood. Because my guys are the only ones who seem to give a fuck.
So I played both of those videos back to back because the woman in the first video says, we could tell when he's cheating, but we can't tell when he's unhappy with us. In the second video, the guy is going on about a woman first being a cheerleader in a man's life and then becoming nagging and not really supportive and kind of hitting him in the kneecaps and not really being who she initially was in the beginning of the relationship. And so the woman says, well, men aren't necessarily communicating this, you know, the way he was articulating himself. She's like, men aren't communicating this. And he's saying that, well, when she act like that, why would I want to communicate with her? I'm just going to go to my brotherhood of men that we've, you know, formed this bond. It's a lot of different type of dynamics of men in the group. and they all get it. They all understand where I'm coming from. They all can vouch for me. They all can support me. So when a woman says, well, we can tell when he's cheating, but we can't tell when he's unhappy, are men really verbal when they're unhappy, or are they just going off doing their own thing and not necessarily communicating that with the person that they want to be open with, the person that they want to love, and all that good stuff we were saying? Are they communicating these things or not necessarily? Whoever wants to start.
Oh man, there's so many dynamics to what just those two videos, and there's so much truth to all of them. Finding out the root to them is where we're gonna have a lot of the discussion. So yes, women are cheerleaders. Yes, they can see when a guy is cheating, because really what they're listening for and what they're looking for are different. And when they first start, they're looking to find out all of the intriguing things that make him tick, because they want him. They're interested. They value those things at that point. Then at some point, they start valuing what they want, and stop valuing what that person is, and stop valuing what they started out valuing. So they started looking for those things. And like, for example, if you're one of us, they're looking at your podcast, they start out with that. Then after a while, they veer off and they're looking at whatever else has got their interest. But the first thing, the initial thing, was they was looking at what it was that you was doing, and they were cheerleading that because they was interested in that. But for some reason, they got complacent at somewhere, somehow. And so then it lends to where men start veering off to their friends who are still interested in what it is that they think and what it is that they are doing. And so you have that dynamic that developed in the second video. So it's kind of like, I understand both of those scenarios, and they are rooted and develop in the places of what people and what specifically women are interested in. Initially, they're interested in everything about the man. The question is, when do you start losing your interest, and why?
Okay. So are you saying that that's a question that needs to be answered on the woman's end? Because if she didn't lose interest, and if there was no reason for her to lose interest, then he would be more communicative. Or is that what you're saying?
He didn't have to be communicative in the first place. She was looking for the things that interest him. So where did you stop looking? Where did you start feeling like it's not important to understand anything about your man? Where did that's the question that I would ask any woman if I was giving them advice or just listening to this. When did you loved him at some point? What were the things that you loved about him, and where did they go?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm gonna say a couple words.
Mm-hmm.
Simp, sassy, zesty, gay. And one statement that really grinds my gears when I hear certain women speak, and they start off with this: if you was a man, okay. Most men don't have a safe haven where they can rest their concerns and how they feel to anyone without being shamed, unless you find a special friend or you have a special group like that man tried to show you, because the majority of the women would say that they're that safe space for them men. But we know so many women that in times of adversity, they weaponize those things that men do, divulge to them. Men have to project this stoic thing, never cry, never show fear, never show hurt in this world, because we're denigrated, profiled, and minimalized. The majority of why this space is so packed with men that's supposed to be red pill and, voicing their opinions in negative fashion is because they don't have that haven where they can rest and trust that said females would not take those things for granted nor weaponize them. And I'm not saying all. And then when women say, okay, I have female intuition, I know when you're cheating and I don't know when you're hurting, I beg to say that's a lie. I beg to say those women that say that are selfish. They see it, but they care not to see it because they would fill in those blanks rather than roll up their sleeves, be that rib, be that support, that thing I talk about, be that thing that brings peace and calm. They prefer denigrate and emasculate men with those words that I gave you. So why would I trust you in that simple place? I mean, not that simple, that tender place where I know can break me in two. I would never let you get there. I would spoon feed you some. I could coexist with you. I can be your protector and provider. But as for opening that door way down in, the basement, I don't know about that. I think I'll give you enough as I can bear. I still love you, but I don't think I want you to touch me there.
So I have a question. So if most men don't have a group, a support group or mentor, whoever to speak to, right? They don't have this. Yet you get in a relationship with a woman who is already complex in all her ways. Relationship's going fine. It's going great. Then there's times when it's not going so fine and it's complicated and, you're having these feelings. Would you agree that having these conversations and diving into these topics with her would be difficult for you if it's not something, and not you in particular, but a man, if it's not something that he does with anyone?
Yes. I would say yes. The interesting thing is I say it to women all the time, and I say it to men as well. There's nothing you can hold and throw up in your face if you ain't ashamed of it. So we have to be able to mature as men to not allow something to break us down in a manner, and women as well got to be able to have a little bit of thicker skin, because if you can't be vulnerable and you're afraid to be vulnerable, then you're just afraid. And let's be clear on that. And if you're afraid, then you need to really start becoming. How do you get over that fear? Because that's what it boils down to. You're afraid to be vulnerable because you're afraid that they're going to hold it against you, or they're going to throw it in your face, or they're going to feel a certain way about it. Well, then you're afraid, and that's fine. But let's address that. Let's not sit there and be absent or go into isolation because we're afraid to talk. Doesn't make sense. I don't recommend it for women, and I don't stand for it for women. So I can't stand for it for men who are sitting there trying to stay in a place of, I don't want to, I don't want her to throw it back up in my face and weaponize it. She can't make it a weapon unless it's something that can harm you.
Sean, you gave case in point. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You gave case in point of how a relationship that you were in turned bad because of how someone spoke and also treated you. And you're no longer in that relationship. I believe it was many episodes ago, and I remember like an elephant. And now you're saying it's not. A woman can snap a man in two. The greatest wars in this world were fought.
I agree, but we need to be able to strengthen ourselves so that can't happen as easily.
So, but when you say it like you just said it, you had the floor to just show that your statement didn't hold that. It fell flat because it would be hypocritical from what you said prior.
Which is
that you held certain things, and when said to you, that caused the demise of the whole relationship, like that thing that Precious just read out. A woman destroys you like a razor blade with 1,000 cuts. If a woman
a woman don't do that. A woman don't do that.
I'm almost done.
I'm sorry.
I'm almost done. A woman emasculates you once, you never forget it within a relationship. That's a wound that don't heal. because it will always be revisited once her tone rises or it goes to that place. He will always remember it. So men have to be very careful because men are fragile just as they are women, because we have the social contract. That woman that you cleave to, you should be willing to die for. And if you can't fully lean into her, most men are fragile with their egos. I said spoon feed. There'll be a point in time when you may be able to cross that bridge and take that leap of faith to a woman. I did not say it was impossible.
Well, I just don't think that you should get in relationships with people that you can't be honest with. I think that's the mistake that most people are running into. You know, you want to be in a relationship, great. But if you can't be honest with someone with how you're feeling, what's bothering you, you know, I think that women can tell when men are cheating because it's obvious that they are veering off, or it's obvious that they're spending time away. But it's not as obvious as what's on their mind, because that's what they choose to do when something is on their mind. So that's why that woman is probably like, well, I don't know when he's unhappy, because he doesn't say anything. He's not communicating that, but his actions are showing that he don't want to be here. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but him going away doesn't help the situation if a woman, you know, does really care. Now, a woman could inquire, a woman could ask questions and things of that nature, but that becomes nagging after a while if you're not the type to be hot, honest, open, and transparent on what's really going on with you. And you can still give that spoon-fed, you know, information to her, but it has to be something. Because just like a man can veer away, women veer away too. They always say women mentally check out before they actually leave the relationship. Well, a lot of men physically check out, and mentally they'll probably keep their mind intact, but now you're doing things that are counterproductive, because now you inserting your penis in somebody that you're not in a relationship with, and there's troubles that come with that, because now you don't know what type of crazy this next girl got. At least you know the crazy you're dealing with. So there's a lot of different dynamics that can come when people aren't communicating. But if you as a man, as a leader, can't communicate what's going on with you, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You should be in a relationship with someone that helps you do that communicating. That's the person you should be in a relationship with.
I agree with you on that point, but I agree with you on that point. But here's the real kicker. I would say with the first lady, her guy probably told her what's wrong with him 100 times. She just didn't hear him. She looked like the kind of woman who didn't hear him. I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. The fact that she's not in tune with him is not because he ain't talking to him. I mean, women in general don't give a shit what we say. You know, so she's, and a lot of these modern women are always attuned to whether their guys are cheating, because that's all they talk about. You know, they always projection that cheating bullshit. And she looks just like the actual prototype of a woman who would talk just like she said. Right. So, you know, I'm stereotyping her, and I'm doing it because she looks exactly like a suspect who would think that way. And her boyfriend, whoever he is, because I don't think she's married to him, probably told her 100 times what's wrong with her. And she just doesn't give a shit. I get what I want out of him, and I'm only tuned in whether he's cheating on me. And that's more. I think that's more of the situation as a man, not opening up. And the truth of the matter is, and I agree with you what you said. In general, you should, if you can't trust a woman that much, you shouldn't get into a relationship with her. But the relationships these days are based on mostly transactional, and the trust thing is not there. They don't necessarily have to trust each other to have a relationship. Now, if we're talking about marriage, that's one thing. But if you're just fooling around with each other for the time being, how much time do you really build up the kind of trust that matters? So,
right.
And a man, wait a minute, Sean. So a man should, you got to be very prudent with whoever you tell your intimate secrets to, including your wife. You got to be prudent. And not well. Hold on, Sean. You sell a lot of stuff. And whether it's not because you're afraid that she's going to burn you one day, it's because she doesn't need to know all that stuff. She just doesn't. You got to be prudent in what you tell her, because when the shit hits the fan, she doesn't need to know whether you're strong enough to have her back because you let her know all your goddamn weaknesses. We don't need to be offloading all that stuff on our women. Forget about it. That's just me. So I can hit there's somebody else I could talk about the second guy later on because it's part of that too.
I was laughing at what you were saying, Payne, because you have a funny way to tell men who are single what they just to get hit and just to have sex. No. You say it like a relationship is only a relationship when you're married, and it's not the case.
No, listen, Sean. I know it's not the case, but I can only speak for my thing. We're in these streets here, Sean, and it seems to me the biggest problem we have is that people have these relationships and they're all over the place. That's where all the trauma comes from. That's where all this stuff comes from, and people are not really committing to each other, so they're always in between. And not for everybody, but I think the majority, like him says, don't say some. I think the majority
I agree
with each other. That's what I think.
agree. I agree with you there, but what I'm sharing with you, what I'm sharing with you is that you say that and you're right, but then you offset like, oh, if you're just gonna, if it's just having fun and it's just then that really conflicts with the point of a significant relationship. And when I speak of relationships, I'm speaking significant relationships only, whether you define it through marriage or whether you define it through commitment. And so and I don't want to play around with it. Like if you're playing, then you're not thinking about a relationship. Let's just be clear on that. And that's the part of. They could call it what they want. I get it, and that's why we have so much confusion, because we're calling anything a relationship instead of identifying what it should be.
The only distinction between a relationship and a marriage is marriage. Everything else is a relationship. If I'm with a girl,
and
whether it's or not, is a relationship.
And that's how you speak, and I'm correcting you. That's not how it is. That's your mentality. That's your what I'm sharing. Okay, I know, but your meaning doesn't apply with everyone. Is what I'm trying to share with you.
Only hit dogs holler. If it doesn't apply to you, just let it roll off your back.
Okay, but the point I'm making to you, I never let it stick on my back. The point is that when you're speaking about it, you're speaking very definitively, as if you're not married, it's not a relationship, and you say it indirectly, and you say it directly very often, and then when I bring it to your attention, you nah, and I'm like, no, yeah, that's how you speak.
Okay.
So, hey guys, y'all both right, so it's over. Fuck it, y'all need to stop. God damn. Talking this motherfuckers on her arguing with each other. Me and Ken ain't gonna get that shit to say.
Discussion, man.
So real precious, could you repeat the question, because they talk so much I forgot it.
The question was, if men don't really have a network of people that they can closely talk to, confide in, when they do go through the riffraffs with their woman, wouldn't it be difficult for him to actually communicate with her if that's not something that he's used to doing?
Let me say this. Most men know how to communicate. Now, it's all about I think it's their comfort level on how they talk to the women. Because talking. If you could talk to your guys, you could talk to your women. But you got to get past a certain comfort level. You know what I'm saying? And what you're comfortable with sharing and what you're not comfortable with sharing. That's the hang up right then and there. It's the comfort level that you got to have. And some guys don't feel comfortable because maybe they see what their women do. Look, guys pay attention all the time. If you're gossiping with your friends about what's going on with them, why do I think you're not going to do the same thing with us? Soon as I put you in a mood that you don't like, who's to say you're not going to go share? Girl, that motherfucker here, he get on my goddamn nerves. He did such and such and such. and I can't stand that shit. That annoys me. So now we see this, we watch this, we pay attention to all this. So now it's like, damn, now I gotta be watching what I tell her. Now I gotta watch what I say to her. Because whatever I'm gonna say to her, the street's gonna find out. And I don't want no woman who talks too goddamn much and tell all our goddamn business. No man wants that. Now, some men accept that. I don't see why they accept that, but they do. And still go and tell her. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. So if you know your woman's a gossiping ass heifer, you better keep your goddamn mouth shut. And just tell her what she needs of her. If you feeling a certain way, you better figure it out by yourself. Because if you don't feel like you can share this with her, you in there for the long. You in a lot of trouble. First of all, you probably shouldn't have married that woman. That woman should have never been blessed with your last name. But for those who already did it and said I do, and ain't shit you could do back out of it, you better figure out what you can say and what you can't say though. And find somebody lower in your circle that's got some goddamn sense about them, could talk you down if need be. I'll get you through it. I'll leave it there.
Okay, all right.
I'm afraid to say anything because I talk too much. But but I just well hey, I don't mind it. I'm very accountable to it. And I didn't want to gloss over the point that I made earlier. And if in fact, I think Kenny, you asked a question. If in fact your woman does something to cut you, your woman didn't do it. That circumstance or whatever it was is cutting you. And that's just the case. And to Hank's point of what he just said, if you have something, if you know their tendencies, men speak out, men put your business out in the street as well. If you notice a person who puts your stuff out in the business and you can't trust them then you don't tell them things. I agree with you. No problem. You limit what you speak to them on. And if that happens to be your woman because she can't hold water, then when she asks you, well, why didn't you tell me that? Well, it's because you don't hold water well. I've said that to plenty of my friends who don't hold water. They said, well, you never tell me certain things. I said, because you don't know how to keep stuff to yourself. So I deliberately don't tell you. And I was very honest, open, and transparent to them about that. I'm not telling you because you talk too much. And if that changes, if they offended by that, okay, well, that's just the reality. But if you change that, maybe I will be able to tell you some things that I don't tell you now. Deliberately. And they're very good friends of mine.
Okay, so the second video is about edification, right? A lot of women don't edify their husbands, and some husbands don't edify their women. So, and I'm only can speak from husbands and marriage. So Sean, forgive me if I look at it from a real relationship. I'm just saying, listen, the edification is and no matter what kind of relationship you have, is key. And it comes down to trust. But a lot of times you don't get that. When the lack of edification will destroy your relationship with your guy, mostly that way. Guys can impact women that way, but when women do it to a man, they destroy his ego. You're going to have less of a man in your relationship if he wants to stay with you, because he's going to be hurting all the time, and he can't look to you for anything positive. Only time you talk to him is when you want to tell him what he's doing wrong, and so that's a big deal. That is an absolute big deal.
So, do you think that women don't care what men, go through in y'all feelings, or is it just that they're not understanding enough?
Well, real quickly, that's why I said what I said.
I think men need to remind women that we have feelings, and you need to watch what you say. And I think men don't do that enough. They don't tell women, listen, what you say, if you want the best out of me, you got to give me the best. And I got to leave and fight the world for you. You got to put me out there so I have my armor on. You can't be stripping that shit off when we're at home. And if they can't understand that, then that's a different story. But if they can, then they'll get it. And that's all I'm saying. So a lot of women lose sight of that because women think about themselves first. Most people do, but women have a good knack of doing that. So I'm not excluding the men, but women tend to. How am I satisfying this relationship first? It's all over the place. You just hear them talk.
And that's true, but women do listen when they're interested. At the beginning of the relationships, they're listening very clearly. They're listening to things you didn't even tell them. That's why they know certain things about you. They're listening. But once they get into the relationship, the complacency might happen, and then they stop listening, and we complain about it. They know how to listen. They listen to what they want to.
Okay.
So yeah, most women are not good listeners. They are good communicators, but they're not good listeners. And the reason why I say that is because they've been so used to getting that attention and somebody's paying attention. So when somebody's paying attention, they just feel like it's an opportunity to grandstand and just tell us about everything, whatever's on their mind, whatever's on heart, whatever's on their spirit. I mean, you sit back and listen. Now, I teach men all the time. Just listen. Pay attention to women. Don't talk a lot. Get that intel. Get all that knowledge you need, because that's going to let you know right in there if she's the type of woman that you want to deal with. Now, another way you're going to sit there and know and learn, find out if she even takes the time to take a breath. And maybe in that breath, she comes up for air and then asks you a question and want to know about you. Or is she just going to take a breath, get a sip of water, and ramble on? Right then and there. Yeah, she's a heartless heifer. You might evaluate that going on a second date if that's the situation.
Pushy heartless. All right, we're gonna get into the final thoughts. I gotta get over.
Why are you laughing?
Because Hank is just Hank. He's just one of a kind. He's one of a kind.
Spoonful of bitters.
Final thoughts, guys. I appreciate everyone who, this is a Sunday night show. It's not the norm, but I appreciate everyone who is watching, who is tuned in. I do want to read some of these comments before we get into the final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. MR says, private eyes on some nonsense, but void of connection. I think women do want to be connected. I think men want to be connected as well. I just think that there is definitely a barrier. And it could be a communication barrier. And I think that, again, I think mindful is just going to be, my word for the rest of the year. Because even myself, we all have to be mindful of just certain things that we do that we don't question. There are certain things that we probably should question about ourselves that we don't. And men and women alike can do that. Men can be a little bit more vulnerable, or they should be a little bit more vulnerable with the person that they are entrusting their life with, their house, their finances, all those things. But I also understand that you have to use wisdom as well with what you divulge to your significant other. I believe that's why God should be a huge part of your relationship, because there are just certain things that we're just not going to understand in our human strength about one another. I truly believe that we're humans, we're complex. We go through things, and everything that you're going through, you're not going to voice those things to your significant other. So you do need a higher power to work in the middle there to bring y'all together, because you'll wreck yourself over the head trying to make each other happy. When you should be coming to a good medium with one another. William Williams says, there isn't any way I'm saying I'm cheating with my brotherhood. So yeah, that was something that he said in the video. And that's why I named the video, This is Who Men Emotionally Cheat With, because a lot of times you'll hear women say, oh, he going to hang with his friends, or he hang with his friends more than he hang with me. And they do believe that men emotionally cheat with them with their friends, but within listening to these videos, the friends understand, the friends take time to understand, the friends, do give that constructive criticism. The friends probably do take time to listen, like Hank was saying. A lot of women don't listen. They just talk and ramble on. So it's not that men are necessarily emotionally cheating on women, but they do find a common ground. But if you can find that common ground with your friends, you should be able to find that common ground with the person that you're having sex with. That you should be able to find it with them as well. And if you can't, then you just don't need to be with that person. You don't need to force anything with anyone. Just no need for that. William Williams also says we don't talk most of the time. Women typically won't listen. And we bring that point up as well. Dr. Still says there are communication issues in both videos. Both men and women should communicate their feelings to each other. I agree. Find a way to do that. I always say reading, expanding your vocabulary. Therapy helped me a lot because it does give you exercises to help you be accountable for being mindful of behavior, thoughts, moves that you make and things that you do in your daily life that you're not really, conscious of. Black Lexicon says men do communicate, but they use the why you conversation starter, meaning like why you. I don't know. Do men do communicate, but they use the why you conversation starter? I don't know. Maybe you guys can understand that. Carlisle Tom says, I think both men and women usually will not say if they're unhappy. It usually can be a temporary feeling. Yeah, so that goes in within using wisdom and being wise on what you divulge, because sometimes it is a temporary feeling, and you have to, especially for women, we have to really, decipher and be wise with our feelings, and question our feelings. Why am I feeling this way? What's causing me to feel this way? Is it even him, or am I irritated at something else, and I'm taking it out on him? Aaron says men directly or indirectly warn women as to what the problem is before they cheat. Some women ignore the signs, which is true. But I think that you need to take indirectly out of there and just be direct. As a man, I think that men just need to be direct, point blank, period. There is no in between, indirectly. I left this out so you can, no. You need to be direct. And if a woman can't take your directness, then she just don't want to listen to you. She don't want to cooperate. The Wife School Podcast. Hey, Wife School Podcast says it's because you can fake happiness. You can't fake that sexual connection distance. I don't know. I can't fake happiness. Whoever faking happiness, I don't even want to know how to do it. Black Lexicon also says they have an exaggerated view of manhood. His mate validated. But when she realized it was not true of all men, she came back to reality and left something delusional. All right, so we are going to go to final thoughts, and then we're going to get out of here. Again, I appreciate all those who have been here this evening, those in the chat, those watching on Facebook, and those who are connected to the channel through someone who's on the panel. So, guys, I appreciate you for being here. We're going to start with Hank. We're going to work our way up to our ping.
Hey guys, if you ever heard about something, excuse me, I'm sorry. My final thought is lots of crazy vibes.
I'm sorry, Penny. Penny, do you have something playing in the background? No, somebody got something playing in the background.
No, it was Kenny.
All right, go ahead.
My final thought is, man, look, emotional cheating, it exists. We see it go on, and both men and women can't do it. It happens a lot, unfortunately, in a lot of relationships. What is what Payne calls a real relationship in a marriage, or just a long-term, lasting relationship where it's not married. It happens. The thing about it is you got to make sure you address it, especially when you acknowledge and you see it going on. If you got going to work and you got a work wife or a work husband, right then and there, you already know you mostly cheat. You already know it's you dead wrong for that. Look, I'm gonna go even further than that. If you have a male friend, ladies and fellas, if you have a female friend and you are sharing certain things, you mostly cheat. Because all that conversation you had with that other woman or that other man should have been directed to your wife or your lady, whatever title she has. That's where it should be directed at. That's where it should be. So, guys, we got to make sure we do a better job of doing this. Make sure we do a better job of expressing yourself and getting your point across. And look, if you got a woman who's not willing to listen, man, you need to have a serious conversation with her. And it may need to go a little bit like this. Baby, I just need you to give me a moment. Just sit back and listen. I got some things I need to get up off my chest. And are you willing to pay attention and hear me out? I'm going to go even further than that. Let's play the pillow game. If I have the pillow, it means I have the right to talk. And when you have the pillow, that means you have the right to talk. Let me hold this pillow, hear the conversation, hear me out. If that means you need to actually take personal notes because you don't want to forget something because you're up in age like our pain, then write this shit down. Do what you got to do. But when I'm done, then you can address anything that you agree or disagree with me on and go from there. Find different ways of communicating with your lady. Ladies, find different ways you can need to communicate with your man and do your best you can by doing that. And hopefully it works out for the best. I'll land it there.
Thank you so much, Hank. Sean, final thoughts? Go on.
I'm trying to take myself off mute. My fault. Thank you, Hank. That was very well put. And actually, I actually have reevaluated my position on certain things due to Hank's previous viewpoint. You know, because I do have a lot of friends that I have spoken to, and he makes a valid point. And I share that point regularly, but it's even deeper that if you are in a relationship and you're speaking with me, then you are emotionally cheating on that relationship because you should be speaking to a man. And I say that pretty regularly, but I just want to reiterate that past conversations that I've had, and Hank brought up some good points that I was like, you know what, I'm going to even define it further because it's absolutely the truth.
Okay.
And so, lastly, I'm sorry for stopping. Lastly, is that we need to have better emotional regulation. And what I always say, we need to be able to have trust. Without trust, you can't have love. And love is the driving force of many of the relationships, and unfortunately, it's missing in a lot of them. And I'll end it there.
Okay. I love when the panelists get some good takeaways and are mindful of what's going on. Hank, you done taught Sean some things. Thank you. And Sean, thank you for being open to, give us that precious gem. You like how I did that? Of what you learned from Hank. So thank you. I like that. Kimmy, closing or final thoughts?
Be brave, be daring. Love up on the people that love up on you, especially that special one in your life. In no way, shape, or form am I advocating for you not being totally transparent and bare to the woman that you love. But don't be foolish and offer your 80 and she's only giving you 20. Be discerning to the woman that you choose to submit confidently into. Then it'll work. In moments of adversity, she should already know what not to do to hurt you. Rather put that liniment on your wounds. You're in for the long haul. Too many people quit too quick on things that could be forever. And I don't care what most say, the pickings is slim. Love who gonna love you back, and be intentional about it. Don't be on the other end, sipping Ripple in the park, talking about what never was, resenting the life that you deprived yourself of living because you were fair to be open. You're fearful to be open. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Kenny. And our pain, final thoughts. I think you're on mute.
Those Hink made me go on mute, so I was trying to honor him by shutting up. You know? Listen, you know, one of the things about coming up on these panels is that
it might have been that Ripple that Kenny was talking about.
You know, it's one of the things coming up on these panels. It makes you reflect a little bit, right? Because we put terms to things that you never think about. I mean, and this is true. This is no word of a lie. I've never spoken to anybody about my relationship with my wife. No family members, no fraternity brothers, not once. I never said, well, you know, this is what's going on in my relationship. And it's not like I was brave or some kind of scholar about emotional cheating. It's just something instinctual that it's nobody's business what goes on in my house. You know, now I've used my fraternity brothers when a chick, you know, broke my heart, and I told them, and then that was the last time I ever did that. I was 19. This girl that I was going with, she broke my heart. I told a frat brother, he came in, see me crying and shit over her, you know. And then by the end of the night, everybody in the frat knew I was crying. They tore me a new one, and it should never happen again. Mm-hmm. Okay, it never happened again. If you know what I'm saying. So you got to be careful even who you use as emotional buffers. You know, the frat brothers were unmerciful. You know, so you crying over a chick, blah blah blah. Thank God I was 19, and it never happened again. So you live and learn. So, but no, in my marriage, now I can't speak for my wife. I don't know who I know she don't have no male friends like that, but I don't know. She says she doesn't talk about our relationship either. You know, I just take her word for that. But I've never done it. It's kind of crazy. Now that we're putting this in some sharp focus, and it makes so much sense. It does. So I'll just land it there.
Thank you, Arpain. Mm-hmm. So it seems as though, you know, there are uncomfortable feelings around divulging information and the information being given back to you. As men, you guys don't want that information coming back to you. You don't want, you know, to feel those feelings. And that's why I say practice this communication with someone that is going to help you with that, because life is not going to give you raindrops and a rainbow all the time, right? And you can't control everything. As men, you control what you can in your environment and in your home and things of that nature, but you can't control everything. And so men are going to have their, and you guys are more mature. And so you've gone through things, you've been through things, but there are young men who, like those fraternity brothers and things of that nature, you know, just young men in general, because there's an uncomfortableness around those feelings. It's like, I'm not going to do it. Or because there's a bad experience around, you know, people knowing that a girl broke your heart, or y'all broke up, or you just didn't take it well. Because there is uncomfortableness around that, you don't like the way that feels. That's your first sign that that's something that you probably should work on and be mindful of. That is something that you should talk to, not a friend, but maybe someone that can help you. Because those feelings are there for a reason. Feelings are indicators. They are things that actually, feelings teach you certain things about yourself. And so my final thoughts, just like last week, is to be mindful of those things. And I think that men, although you guys have to be cautious of who you tell what to, I think that more men should communicate more and should tell someone more of what's going on with them, honestly. whether it's about a relationship, whether it's in life, professional. I think that should be a practice for men. And you shouldn't care about what nobody got to say about you, no matter what the circumstances is, whether you got broke up with, whether your heart got broke, like you shouldn't care. It's a part of life. It's you're just gonna go get older, get stronger, get wiser. So those things shouldn't bother you as much as they can, as they should. But as a woman, I can't necessarily tell you that. All I can encourage you to do is to acknowledge those feelings and learn where they're coming from, so you're not uncomfortable in them when it happens, because that's what happens. Two people get into relationships and now you're having this uncomfortable feeling, and instead of saying something about it, you just don't, and you just go on to the next day like it's, oh, it's just a Tuesday, and then Tuesday becomes Wednesday, and then Wednesday becomes Thursday, and then Thursday becomes 5 years from now, and you still have that same uncomfortable feeling around the same topics, around the same conversations. And then you say, oh, well, I don't tell women nothing because, they got big mouths and they want to tell everybody. No, you're uncomfortable. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that, it's bothering you and your ill na. It's okay. It's okay. We know you got that feeling in your stomach. Women go through these feelings as well, but I don't think that women keep things bottled up, because we know how that affects us physically, and those things cause illnesses. If you don't take care of those things, they will cause an illness on the inside of you that will come out of the outside of you. And so we all need to be, emotionally smarter so we don't become physically ill. You can be in a house with someone, two people in the same home, and you're stressed all the time. But not only are you stressed all the time, you're sick. And now you're going to the doctor for this ailment and that ailment, and got to take medicine for this and take medicine for that. And it's only because you're not emotionally well. You could be eating right, you could be sleeping right, but because you're stressed and you don't want to have these conversations, now you got to take medicine and pay a copay for a prescription that if you just talked, you'd be fine. So my final words or final thoughts is, guys, it's okay. You shouldn't care about what anyone has to say to you, but if you can't trust the person that you're in a relationship with, then you probably, or if you can't trust yourself to have those conversations, because a lot of times it don't even be the other person. We put it on the other person. We do. But a lot of times it's you. You had a bad experience with sharing information. And so you shouldn't hold that person accountable because you can't share information. You can't open your mouth about what's on your mind, what's on your heart, and on your soul. Those things are important. And if you don't feel like a woman can help you in that and encourage you and, inspire you to feel differently and look at things a different way, if you don't have a woman capable of those things, then you shouldn't be with her. Then she's the pump and dump, like our Payne has been saying. She's just getting her back blown out, and you just, getting one off, and the world is still going around, but you still can't talk about what's going on with you. So the pump and dump really doesn't mean anything. You just wasted your sperm. Okay. So again, I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Those who have chilled with us on this Sunday evening. The next time I'm going live is going to be next Thursday evening at 9:20. But you guys, I need you guys here at 9, please and thank you. But I just wanted to have this live because I know my schedule has just been a little bit inconsistent, but I still care about you guys. I still care about these conversations and helping the community and us gaining a better understanding of one another. So thank you. And again, Thursday, 9:20, same place, same time. I am going to have some changes. I am going to go on to a new YouTube channel. That's not going to happen on Thursday. So we still going to be here on The Real Precious on Thursday at 9:20. But in the near future, I am looking to jump over to a new page that I started. So just, stay tuned for that. And I'll, keep you guys updated on that. But again, thank you guys. And tomorrow's Monday, our usual day, but in about 20 minutes it'll be Monday, so y'all just pretend this is Monday night. No, I'm just kidding. But again, thank you guys, and have a great evening, have a great Monday, have a great week, and I'll see you on Thursday at 9:20.
All right, see you then, and thank you for your precious gems.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys. Y'all make it possible, so thank you. Have a great evening, guys.